email, Facebook. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Heart to Heart Show. I'm your co-host, Anita Barfoot. I am a spiritual master teacher. I work with impactful leaders who want to live from their heart and create massive change in the world. And my co-host is Connie Lee.
Yes, hi, I'm Conny Lee, and I am an online business manager for coaches and healers who are doing like amazing things in the world, as well as I do some blogging, and I'm also a published author. Chantelle?
Oh, I feel really put on the spot. Okay, I'm Chantelle Hobgood. I live in an RV full time, travel the country, and I can't really say I do anything to justify my existence right now.
And you do. We all know you do.
Okay, so
and
right
Marie?
now, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Chantelle.
No, so right now I'm not in my RV. I'm in Wilmington. We moved from Colorado to Wilmington, North Carolina, and I am mooching off of a friend until my husband gets here. So yeah, I go from, RV living to couch surfing.
Sounds like an amazing life. I like it. And if you want to be like Chantelle, you can reach her at Marie, how about you?
1-800 get a life.
Marie Stone, what's your story?
Marie, and I never know what I want to say here.
You get to make shit up if you want, girlfriend.
I work as an energy healer and an intuitive, and I specialize in working remotely because I really like the kind of connection I get that way. So that is what I love most to do and what lights me up.
And she's really good at it.
Thank you.
Really, really good at it. So tonight we're going to be talking about feeling the fear of following your heart and doing it anyway. My co-host Connie Lee wrote that, and that's good shit, right? So how many of you get these callings and you kind of wig out at, ooh, it's scary to do something different? That's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight, and how we get through those, because we've all leaped in our own way. And leaping might not be like selling everything and becoming a nomad. It might be just doing life different. Yeah, like Chantelle.
Yeah.
It might just be doing life different. So tune in if, even if it's, how do you get started? Like what does it feel like? How do I move? Those kind of things. So to start us off, how about if I ask you this? What did you notice when that calling started to come, ladies? What did you notice? Like, what showed up for you? Was there fear? Was there a nudge? Was there a feeling? What was it that you noticed something different was pulling? And whoever wants to jump in can.
I'm going to volunteer Chantelle to start.
Like this. Shut up, Chantelle. Okay, so what did it feel like? It felt like a calling I couldn't ignore. It felt like, that noise in the back of your head that you try to ignore. And I was like, no, very much. It felt intuitive. It felt, you know what? This is your life. I'm specifically talking about doing the RV thing, but I can apply that particular experience has helped in all ways. It's like, I'm just going to say yes to this. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, and I'm just going to do this because guess what? I have one life, and I'm going to live it the way that I want to. And so I I felt like if I didn't, for me, that if I ignored it, that I was short selling myself. And I wasn't willing to do that. So a little background. I have MS, and which doesn't, it defines stuff, but it doesn't. I very much live a full life, but, you know, I have to live a very intentional life. And so I felt like, you know what, I'm just doing this and I want to do it and I'm going to do it. And I don't care how scary it is, that step is not going to be as bad as I think it is in my head.
That's huge right there. It's never as bad as we think it's going to be.
Nope. Getting over that, I think, for all of us, you know, no matter what it is, if we can get over the fear of the unknown, and realizing it's not going to be as bad as you think. I mean, literally, just to, you know, have that thought in your mind is a huge, it helps big time.
So what is it that diffuses the fear for you?
I'm not a fear-based person, as Connie knows.
Uncertainty, is that a better word for you? Like the unknown?
I think really, for me, it's very much, you may have your life circumstances may be a certain thing, and you may be, quote, dealt a certain, you know, card, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think it's a survivor mentality for me. And very much, I'm not gonna let, no matter what my hardships are, no matter what that, you know, whatever challenges I face, whether it's health or whatever, it doesn't really matter what it is. I'm not gonna let those things define my life, you know. And I feel like whether it's one day or 1 year or whatever, we all have a purpose. And whatever that purpose is, you don't know if you're going to be here in 5 minutes. So you might as well do some shit the way you want to do it.
That's right.
I don't want to look back and go, you know, I really wish I would have done whatever. It's not to say that I don't have any fears, but you keep going. To live with regrets.
Right. You know, I spent a portion of several years working with old people in nursing homes, assisted living, and the thing that I heard most often from the dying was, I wished I would have followed it. You know, it's that living with regret of not doing it. So that propelled me, like when I get uncertain or fearful about taking the leap, it really is saying, you know what, like, you're right. This in this moment, this is it. And let's just do it, right?
Yep.
How about Connie and Marie? Do you have anything to add here?
So the original question was what the feeling is, right?
What do you notice? What do you experience when life calls? Feeling, nudges, like what is it for you that you know something is like knocking at your door and wanting you to do life different from here, of course.
Yeah, and that's what I think I was going to say is like I feel it in my heart, like something's like pulling me to somewhere else, right? And so one of the best examples I can give is when I quit my job. And I was working for a great company. They had trained me to do this job. I was like bringing home stable income. And when I was thinking about quitting, so I had been feeling this nudge of like, you know, there's more for you. You need to go and do this. And that's where I think a lot of the challenges kind of came up. But it was that feeling of there's something else. And then as soon as I felt that, there was this excitement, but there was also a fear of like, I can't just quit my job, right?
The
Like,
security of what
Yeah.
is, right?
yeah.
And so when you step through that, I mean, you can cut to the chase of the story. We're sitting here today, so you survived, right?
Yes, it's true. And I was actually going to ask Chantelle, but I wanted Marie to first respond to this question, but I wanted to ask what the challenges everyone has experienced, because I thought we should all kind of get through that part.
That's good. Yeah. So let's let Marie jump on board here and catch up with us.
So for me, it was also a job quitting situation. One of my little leaps. I've made a series of little leaps, and I'm working my way up to a big leap. But for me, it was a very clairaudient message that just said, I don't care about this company's mission anymore. It was great for them, but I just didn't feel it anymore. And I felt like it was a large deviation from my particular soul's purpose, and I didn't feel aligned with their mission anymore. For me, it was just in my ear. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Interesting.
And was there another piece to the question? I guess for me, it wasn't a feeling. It was just a very audible message in my ear.
You heard the voice. And I think for me, it's different with every circumstances. Sometimes it's a voice. It's just something I feel pulling. Sometimes it's, I can't breathe if I don't do this. Like, it's so strong, even though it feels totally illogical and irrational to do the thing. There's such a pull and a drive that it's like, I have to. And if I don't listen to the shit in my head, I go. But it's like the fears jump in. Sometimes it's just really soft and subtle, and sometimes it's so powerful that it's more.
Oprah has a quote about something like, life first whispers to you and then it knocks you over the head. And for me, it was this little nudge, and then it became a little bit louder and a little louder. And then it was like an autoimmune disease. And that was when I was kind of like, okay, I guess it's time to listen, right? So.
Well, and I think for me, the bigger feelings that I have to, that like I literally remember being on my knees in big leaps that felt like a massive life change. I remember being on my knees, crying, sobbing. I don't know how to do this. And I feel like I can't not do this. And it was that moment of surrender, of deciding I'm going to, surrendering and allowing, for me, spirit, creator, whatever you want to call that, bigger energy, to just take the reins and for me to follow.
So I'd like to hear what everyone's kind of challenges were and how they overcame them. Chantelle, you can start.
Speak, Chantelle, speak.
So, honestly, you only live once. That is the big thing that stuck in my mind. After, obviously it was a long process, but I've always been a little bit of a rebel. Okay, maybe a lot. And so I think for me, it literally was every time a fear would come up, every time, doubts or whatever, I literally would go, you only live once. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing like selling everything and living in an RV. It really doesn't. obviously that's pretty drastic, but I can take that really big thing and apply it to all these little small things and go, oh, that stuff's easy. Because I'm homeless. Not really. I mean, I don't have a home. I don't live like everybody else lives, and it's like Cinderella with the glass slipper. It's awesome. And whatever insecurity, I mean, because that was a time where I remember when we first went on the road, where I was like, this was the biggest mistake ever. I go, I'm not in my little Colorado place, and everything it's different, and I can't relate to it, and I didn't even tell my husband about it. And I went, okay, I just gotta breathe. I just gotta breathe. Literally, I think when I get overwhelmed, or when I have doubt, or when I, have any of those things, I go, breathe. You're overreacting.
Okay, so wait, what is breathing? What is that doing for you?
It slows it all down. So all it is slowing that noise down, that chatter.
And reconnecting you to your heart. I mean, that's how I would see that you're reconnecting with the inner knowing, right?
Correct.
Did you have to sell your husband on the idea?
No.
Oh.
Not at all. It was funny because he called me and he was really unhappy with his job, and he called me one day and he was coming home from work, and I had already been doing research because I'm that person, and I'm always like looking for the net, let's live. Let's just live. What are we going to do? And so I had already been researching it. He called me, it was November of 2006. Was it 15? 16. Anyway, 3 years ago, and no, 3.5. It'll be 4 years. Will it be 4 years in November? Anyway, he called me on his way home from work, and I said, he was really unhappy. And I said, honey, my third child was graduating from high school and she was going into the Navy. And I said, honey, what do you think about selling the house and everything and just traveling and living in an RV? And it took him about 5 minutes to realize I was serious. And he was like, all right. And he said yes. He was just like, sure. So it was not hard. That was not my biggest hurdle. That was the easy part.
See, but I look at that, and I can see instances in my life when I've decided, and once I decided, everything else fell into place, right?
Yep.
So it's like he caught on to the energy of, oh, she's serious, and no, that might be fun. Let's go do that, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
How about you, Marie? Challenges?
To be honest with you, this particular leap that I talked about didn't have any. My life became exponentially better. I lost cash. I mean, I left a pretty nice salary and a very nice annual bonus to work for a public school. Don't need to say any more about that. But I gained so much. Everything got better for me. I didn't have challenges. My budgets magically, morphed to fit my new income, and I gained more time for myself because I no longer had a commute and I have sort of a shorter day. And I got to reconnect with the part of me that the bleeding heart part of me that loves community action or community service related work. I got to meet 400 really cool kids. Yeah, I mean, everything got better for me.
We can always see what we'll lose when we're thinking about leaping into something different, but we can't see what we'll gain because it's new, right?
Mm.
And I think that's what most people don't understand, because we're so fixated on what was that we can't see the vision of what could be.
And I think maybe, well, speaking from my own experience, the bigger leaps, I think, are a little more scary in that way for me.
Letting go of what you letting go of what you lose.
Or what's going to happen when I let go of my paycheck.
Well, but for me, it's remembering that I have evidence in my life that it always works out.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have evidence, right? I mean, if we look deep enough, we'll have evidence.
Right.
And yeah, sometimes, like Chantelle says, you only live once. Just grab it. How about you, Connie?
Yeah, it's funny because in the thick of it, I felt very like I've made a huge mistake. I guess before I made the decision, it was really heavy because I have a family that depends on me. I thought like I'm going to look like the biggest loser because I'm giving up this job, right? And I'm going really to nothing at that time. Like it was, and people didn't understand, right? So at that time, I didn't really have a support network of people that understood what I was doing it for. But it was
then you just think you're crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so I can still remember, like, it was a few weeks after I left my job and I had no income coming in at all. And just thinking like, holy fuck, like, I don't even know what I just did. And yeah, so there's a part of me that wanted to just keep persevering. And there was another part of me that was like, just go back and get a job, right? Like you've got lots of connections in the industry, just go and get a job. So that's what I ended up doing actually. Like I went back and found a job, lasted for 3 months. And then, and that was it. And now it's been over a year. So yeah, it was definitely like, I found it really kind of challenging to just keep going when it felt like everybody and everything was against me.
Well, and the flip side of that for me is in the times that I felt like really this is what I had to do. If I didn't do it, I felt like I was dying from the inside out. That is my biggest catalyzing factor for me, is that when I get so empty inside, I know that I have to shift.
Yeah. And I did hit a point where it was like, I don't really care what I have to lose in order to keep going. Like if I lose everything, that's okay, because I know I'm doing this for like a reason I can't see, right? Like a purpose that I can't even see.
Right. And that feels like I can't keep doing this, so I might as well try that, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So how about you? Challenges and how you overcame them.
Yeah, there's been so many instances over the years. So I think the one that's coming up for me now is, I think it was 2017 when I decided to go and get certified for health coaching. And the program was like $5,000. My husband had just lost his job. And he came home from work, and here's Anita with this big fucking smile on her face. Hey, honey, I know what I want to be when I grow up. That's the short version of a conversation. But it was, the pull to do this was so incredible. And I just want to say a little bit of, so also for me, so I had been thinking about doing something, I didn't know what. I had checked out health coaching schools and just nothing felt right to me. And I'd given up the idea. And I'm scrolling on Facebook, and this ad for the school that I ended up going to, HCI, popped up. And I was like, how did this not come up in a Google search? So that to me is the universe dropping clues, right? So I check it out and I am so aligned with their mission. Like it just, everything about it feels right. I saw the price and I was like, ugh, that feels uncomfortable. And yet there was something in me that said I have to. And so I said to my husband, like, this feels like what I have to do. Not that I could do, not that I might do. It feels like I have to, and I can't see what's on the other side of it. And I've decided, this is cute, I've decided that I'm going to, if you agree with me. And the moment I decided, I also simultaneously decided that within a week, I would have the money to pay it off. And I shit you not, I did. Like all of a sudden, somebody dropped me. I put $1,000 down payment down, and somebody dropped me a $4K check. And I was like, holy shit. That's the energy of deciding.
So did your husband have any objections to that?
No, and again, that's kind of what Chantelle said. Like when I decided, then the energy just aligned and everything fell into place. Because quite honestly, if he had had resistance to it, I would have doubted it. Because I already did. I doubted, like, where did this crazy thought come from? Why is this the thing? But it was so strong in me that I had no doubt that it was going to happen. And he's like, I trust you. Like, if this is what you need to go do it. So here I am 3 years later, like not even close to a health coach. But, you know, and that's the thing, is letting go of our expectation of what that thing is going to bring to us, right? Because what I thought the health coaching certification was going to do for me and what it did for me are two totally completely different things. It really, like, yes, it gave me tools in my toolbox, which is always great. I love tools that will help other people, but it did more for me and the confidence factor of owning my worth over the, like, it wasn't really about the certification. It was, I knew all the shit they taught me. It wasn't about that. It was completely different. And so that propelled me into life coaching certification, which propelled me into owning that I'm a freaking spiritual coach. And I know all that other shit, but it refined it. So it's letting go of the expectation, and it's stepping through the fear for me. It's deciding. And I think it's the vision, the pain pushes you until the vision pulls you, for me. You know, because our pain drives us to healing, right? And then all of a sudden we see the light and we're like, oh my God, that feels good. I want that. Do you know what I mean?
Would you do it again?
Well, that's a great question. Because knowing what I know now, but yes, I definitely would, because I can see how so many things in my life were the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. Like I wouldn't be here live with you guys if I hadn't took all the steps that got me to being able to show up here and completely forget that we're live and there's other people are watching. I'm just sitting around having a conversation with 4 amazing people, or 3 amazing, and me. I'm pretty amazing too. That's all it is to me. Like it's not. So yes, definitely.
I guess what I meant when I asked if you would do it again was, would you go for certifications again? And the reason I ask you this question is because I know for myself, and maybe I'm saying the same thing you just did, only with different language. I think sometimes the fear of maybe not knowing everything you need to know in order to do the thing will make you go for this certification or that course or this certification. Or
I love that, and I think that we over certificate never mind. I'm not even going to try and do that again.
I like that.
We go there. So I'm a Reiki master. I teach and certify Reiki. And I do it much different than most people because I will not teach people who come to me because they want to hang a document on the wall. If you don't really want to learn Reiki, the art of hands-on healing, then I'm not interested in working with you. There's a million other people you can go get certified for. And I also don't believe in a paper trail for myself. That has been something that's really stood out in my life, that I don't do that. And I've had to stop myself from doing it to feel important or fit in or feel like I know enough or whatever, right?
Same.
Have you ever had clients that ask you for your certifications?
No, ironically not.
Yeah.
I have had people who have said, like, let's say they're referred, and they'll say to the person that referred them, well, you know, what are her certifications? And back in the day, I was a massage therapist, and in the state of Wisconsin, it wasn't licensed. Back in the day, it wasn't licensed. When it got licensed, I decided not to get certified. I could have grandfathered in, and I didn't, because I'm kind of against it. I am still, if I choose to be, a freaking phenomenal body worker. I can do that. A piece of paper don't make me that, right? And so it was my attitude at the time saying, well, fuck you. I'm not going to do that because you say that I'm not good enough unless I have it. You know, like that's a little bit of a rebel in me. Yeah. Did I answer your question? I don't freaking remember. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, people. I'm tired.
You did. And I know for myself, I go back and forth in my mind all the time about, I think it's like, for at least for me, and I'm sure for other people, it's like it can be used as like a crutch or like a reason that you can't make the big leap yet. Well, I really should be, you know, certified in this, or how, you know, I really should, before I do this, I should do that. And it's like, it's like a way to hold yourself back.
Well, and I think it's us. This is the bottom line. It's us looking for, what do you call it?
Validation.
Yes, validation outside of ourselves instead of trusting ourselves. The bottom line is we all know if we're really drawn to something, we already have that wisdom. We just haven't connected to it. Do you guys agree with that? Is that like a stretch for you? Like we know it. Nobody taught me how to do body work, and I was trained in body work, but I already knew it. Training just refined what I already knew. The same with my certifications. It refined what I already knew. Energy medicine. When I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I was touching people and knew that I made them feel better. 20 years later, I got certified in Reiki, or 30 years later, I got certified in Reiki, and I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? 35 years later, I worked with a Cheyenne elder, and he did exactly what I did when I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Isn't that interesting? It's in us. And that's why I'm not about certification. Like, yes, I think it refines you. It can refine you. But if you think the certification is going to give you the kahunas to go out and do what you want to do, it's not. It's the belief system.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Connie?
I actually, I agree, because I think that there's something to be said about life experience and like Anita said, like inner knowing. Except I have the problem that Marie's talking about, where I can't stop getting certified for stuff. Like I have 18 courses on the go. So
tell me what you're looking for in those courses. What will having those certifications or courses do for you?
You know, it's not even actually the certification, because it's not even something I advertise. Like I don't advertise all of the things I'm certified in. It's more the feeling like I need that knowledge, right? And just being like, so I can see it for other people, you know, when Anita, you're sharing your story, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, of course you already knew that, right? But then when I'm talking about myself, I'm like, no, I still need to go and still need more work.
That's
Well,
so the bottom line. I'm sorry, but you don't trust yourself, and I get it
Mhm.
because I didn't trust myself. Right? That's why we look for it outside of ourselves. Sorry,
Right.
Chantelle, were you?
No, you're fine. No, I wanted to
Keep
hear
going.
what Connie had to say because I know she's the certification queen. So I was like, trying to
Oh, you had an inside track.
is it because she's unsure of herself? I wanted to hear what she had to say. Is it because she's unsure of herself, or is it because she just likes taking classes? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, and I bet it's both. Is it both?
Yeah, it's both. I love learning.
Knowledge, yes.
Yeah. But a lot of it is because, I don't trust myself. And yeah. So
I love the question, what would you do if you trusted yourself? Like I ask myself that, and I ask my clients that, because we'd sell our shit, we'd go ride around in an RV, and we'd be a nomad. Okay, not maybe everybody, but
and you would pick up a crazy, okay, I just have to share this with you guys because it's my new thing. You pick up crazy ass expensive hobbies like making cupcakes. I eat cupcakes, but I have all this crap to make cupcakes because I want to be creative. And so I make all these really cool cupcakes.
what do you do with them?
Freaking RV, which mind you, is not easy. And then I go to other people's houses and make cupcakes at their house with pretty fondant.
she does a really good job.
Do you sell these? What do you do with them?
I give them away because I don't eat cupcakes. I mean, I'll never eat a cupcake, but I don't really eat a lot of sugar, and we don't really eat gluten. I could make gluten-free cupcakes, but that would just make my husband really fat. So I just make them and I give them to people.
I'll send you my address when we're done.
Yeah.
If I invite you to come and visit me, can I expect the
I will
cupcakes?
make you freaking cupcakes. Guaranteed. That's my thing. Cupcake chick.
And she will cook you nutritarian, right?
I'll make you anything.
What is that?
I like to cook.
Oh,
What is
I know what
nutritarian?
nutritarian is.
So do you know what nutritarian is, Marie?
I do, but you go ahead and explain it, but I do know what it is.
Like in 5 minutes, it's a whole food plant-based diet, but no oils, no processed foods. It's basically everything that you put into your body is
Whole.
in its original form,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And you cook stuff and anyway, yeah. But
so what is the difference between that and plant-based?
Honestly, I probably can't answer that question only because I don't know specifically what is just plant-based. I just know nutritarian is vegan, yet it's no processed foods. It's no oils. You don't have any added oils. The oil that you get from whole foods. So if you're going to make a dressing, you're going to make it with nuts, various nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't ever saute anything with butter or vegetable oil or anything. But
wow.
The other side of that is I'm not a total fanatic about it because I'm a rebel.
I couldn't tell that about you at all.
The shaved head, the RV thing.
By the way, so normally I just shave my head, but I'm at my girlfriend's house and her daughter was like, "Can I shave your head with a razor?" So last night I was like, "Sure, it'll, I don't care because I'm always using my clippers." And so she shaved my head. You've seen no greater joy than seeing an 8-year-old with a razor. She didn't cut me, and I was like, "Sure, go for it." It was great. It was like a head massage for like 30 minutes.
Talk about living your calling.
Yeah, right? That's why just say yes. Just say
Crazy.
yes.
So are there any stories, like leaps that you guys have taken that feel important, like you want to share tonight that haven't come out so far?
Well, I'm living in the middle of one right now that I don't mind sharing that at least 2 of you know about. And it's another baby step leap, but it was a little bigger than a baby step. But so like 17 years ago, my father, who's now passed, and my stepmom moved to the Gulf Coast, Southwest Florida, and I've always loved visiting there. And one day my husband and I were sitting in the backyard, like Sunday morning coffee, and we're like, God, I wish we could just live somewhere warmer. And suddenly I was like, wait a second, why can't we live somewhere warmer? And so we decided to sell the house. And so we put our house on the market, and, you know, my mom is here, my stepdad's here, my step siblings are here, my children, 18 and 22, live here. And I've lived here my whole life, except for 2 years in New Hampshire and 2 years in Virginia. And as soon as our house is sold, we are moving to the beach.
That's
and,
a leap.
Yeah, quitting our jobs and, you know, family to stay with when we get there to get on our feet, which is a luxury that, you know, some people wouldn't have making this type of leap. But it was a pretty big leap for us. But it was like a light bulb moment, like, wait a second, why can't we do that?
So I'm curious how you, Marie, and Chantelle, I'm not sure about you, Anita, but how you detach from your family doing that. I would love to move, but I'm afraid to leave my family behind.
I'll go first if you don't mind, just because it's fresh in my mind, because this was a very difficult, it took me many years to come to this decision, because I have talked about moving south for a long time. My mom and I are super close. But I feel like, I don't know, I just had this knowing that it was the right time and that it was okay, and that while I will miss my mom like crazy, we spend every Saturday together. I know she'll be okay, and I know I'll be okay. As far as my kids go, they're both, you know, my daughter lives at her dad's house, which is just a few miles down the road, and my son has been on his own for several years now. So I just kind of feel like, you know, I'll always be their mom and I will miss them. But my life with them is sort of, I don't know how to say this without sounding like really chilly and non-maternal. It's kind of, that part of our lives is kind of wrapped up, you know, and now they have their lives, and my husband and I are going to go have ours, and they'll come back together when and where they do. But it just felt like, it just felt like the right time. It just felt right. That's all I can say.
Interesting.
Now, if I could just get someone to feel right when they walk in the front door of this house, we'd be all set.
It'll happen in the perfect time.
Yeah.
Chantelle.
How about you?
Okay. So, very much deciding to live in an RV was very much putting my own oxygen mask on, for sure. It was a huge self-preservation, because this is mom who is a huge empath, feels everything that's going on in everybody's life. And I have really good boundaries in a general sense with the world around me, except when it comes to my frickin' family. All right. So, although that being said, I work on it, but there's all these layers to it. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I think it has been the catalyst to healthier relationships. Not that they were unhealthy before, but it definitely helped me set those boundaries without feeling crappy about it. And not to be mean or anything, but I don't have to deal with everybody's day-to-day drama.
How nice. That sounds nice.
I love them, love them, love them, love them. But when I go home, I'm like, I don't miss this. So just saying. I mean, there are times, it's not to say that I don't miss my kids, but I always go, this is where I am. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm living in this moment. I can't think about what is not right here, because that's not serving me. That's not helping me. That's not helping them. So, yeah, that is not hard.
I have to tell you this. So Chantelle and I met when she was already on the road, and we were probably like good friends for like 6 to 9 months before I found out she had a granddaughter. She was like, and her granddaughter's really young. So one day she just mentioned out of the blue, like she was doing something with her granddaughter. I'm like, how did I not even know you had a granddaughter? Like, how did you not tell me you're a grandmother? So,
Well, I'm not that good of a grandma, guys. Just saying. There's a smidge of guilt with that. A smidge. Because it's not enough to make, I'm just going to stop traveling. It's funny because it always makes me think of this woman that I met who's been full-time RVing for 4 years. And she's like, our oldest son, we have 3 sons. And my oldest son got married. And so we think we're going to stop traveling in 2 years because we're going to have grandkids. And I was like, because I can't not. It's funny. Because I was like, why would you do that? But you see, I have 4 children. My oldest is 27, soon to be 28. I've been raising kids for a really long time. And I'm like, yeah. So I've been making a bigger effort, Connie, to be a better grandma, because my biggest fear, my son won't watch this on Facebook, but my biggest fear, and I think I shared this with Connie, was that my son was going to call me and say, Mom, I'm going on vacation. Can you watch Amy for a week? And I'd be like, I'm done babysitting.
Oh God, that's funny.
So anyway, yeah. Yes.
it's interesting that you two, like your perspective on it, because I have this like Rocky Mountain home in my head that's been like this visual thing I've had going on for years. And I've always like been called to the mountains. But the thing that holds me back is like, I'm super close to my sisters. The thought of not being able to see them pretty regularly scares the crap out of me.
Don't think about what you're losing. Think about what you're getting.
All right, I'll write that down. Yeah.
You know, in 2005, I drove through a rainbow on the way to work, and I had a feeling that there was something more coming. And over the course of the next few weeks, I had taken a trip to Montana to visit a friend, took my son, stayed a week, came back, was totally satisfied with the trip. And just like that, within 48 hours, I knew I had to go back. And things fell into place at work. I left a good corporate job, took off as a nomad, literally packed my car with a few things. My kids were just going to college. I'm thinking I got 5 years to go enjoy my life. My dad just about wigged out. I was very close with my parents. My dad's passed now, but he like set me up contacts in Idaho. Like, then he knew I'd be safe. But holy shit, you talk about freedom, like Chantelle's saying about, letting go of all the drama and the close knit. And I think in a lot of ways, the relationships changed because the drama wasn't so prevalent that the time together was actually more important, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah. And so I was never coming back, didn't know where I was going, didn't know how I was staying. 5 months later, I come back to Wisconsin for a funeral and ended up getting actually divorced from my ex-husband, which I never finished when I was here. And I never left the fucking state again. I'm still not supposed to be here. I don't know what happened. But, and it's perfect. Like, I get. So again, I think it comes back to deciding, right? Or how strong is the call? What is the call? What is it telling you?
Here's the thing. I think you just said something that sparked me. When you start listening to those calls and you follow your intuition, whatever you want to call it, the calls get louder. And
Yes.
those other
Yeah.
things that happen in your life, you go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. And you go for it. So that first one is always the hardest, following that first call, don't you think? And
Yeah, I
then
think that's
every
brilliant.
single thing that happens after that, you go, oh, I got to do this. I need to pay attention to this.
Well, and
That's what it's been for me. Sorry.
I think that's true. I mean, I'm wondering, like, if the different levels of calling factor in that equation. Like, I think it becomes easy to follow the little nuances once you follow the first one.
Yeah.
I think for me, my head can get in the way of, like, if I give myself time to think about it instead of following the calling, I can reason the shit out of it, and it's all fear-based. It's all fear-based. Where the calling is love, it's a high vibrational feeling. The yeah buts are all fear-based. I can see Connie's gears turning right now.
Yes, I know. Everybody says that. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
My mom and I sometimes hold each other up. And so I think when we are apart, then the two of us are going to heal and grow and become, better people and for it, even though there's a little bit of pain involved on the front end. And I think also there's something to be said for when you feel drawn to a specific type of geography. And I think that has to do with your connection to the elements, spiritually speaking. So for you, it's the mountains. For me, it's the ocean. It's water, specifically that body of water.
So if you're drawn to mountains,
why, but
if you're drawn, just go get any freaking stone and just be happy with it. They're all made out of the same shit. Or go, like, get a glass of water. Wouldn't that serve?
No. It can elicit the similar emotions, I think.
not for
It's
me.
not the
I live
same.
4 miles from a massive river that separates the state of Vermont and New Hampshire, and it is nowhere near the same as being in the Gulf of Mexico.
It's not doing it.
No.
I was being a little facetious, but I love that Chantelle jumped in there and said, hell yeah, that was.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with you, Chantelle. I think that if you want to work with an element or connect with an element, then I think absolutely you should do that on whatever level is available to you, if that's what you meant. But for me, it's just like, I know that life won't be easier at the ocean. I know that there's big frickin' snakes and spiders, and I am totally terrified of lizards. Not the baby ones, but like the big ones, like the size of my dogs.
What a great way to place to go.
I'm willing to deal with all that because I feel strongly that I am supposed to be at the ocean. I have work to do there.
I look forward to hearing it. So the only other thing that I feel like we should maybe address is resistance from others. I think, Connie, you touched on this a little bit, like, what do people think? What about anything else come up around resistance and doing it, even though everybody thinks you're crazy? Any thoughts there you want to share?
From anybody?
Anybody?
Go ahead, Connie. I think you were starting to talk.
Was she?
Yeah, I think that finding that really like deep connection with yourself and knowing like this is the path I'm meant to be on, and the people that you lose from that path aren't supposed to be on the path with you anymore. And as much as that,
are you really losing them if they're not? Sorry. Another question. I want to dive in. Keep going.
So I just feel like you have to, for me, it's like being really connected and knowing what I want to myself and knowing what I want and what I'm setting out to do. And that's why when I was saying like the turning point came when I decided that it didn't matter who didn't agree or whatever I was going to lose, that I still had to keep going.
So that feels like trust yourself. Is that the bottom line?
In some ways I do trust myself. In other ways I don't.
But the bottom line of that message that allowed you to keep going was that you did connect to and trust yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Cool. Marie?
I think that when people judge other people for making those kinds of crazy decisions, I think they do it out of fear for that person because they care about them. And I also think, if we employ my favorite universal law here, the law of reflection, they're probably just wishing they had the balls to do it themselves.
Well, I think that right there is gold because it is true for so many things. And
Myself included.
We all do it. It's not about us. It's about them and their resistance to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turn that back around to say, when I'm feeling something like that, it's like, wait, what am I resisting within myself? So if you get your hair or your hackles up about somebody else's situation, just stop and look in the mirror and say, what is this telling me, right? How about you, Chantelle? You got anything to add to that?
I think in a general sense, the thing that sticks out in my mind is other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
Beautiful.
Very simply, I'm sure people think I'm freaking crazy for not just living in an RV. The list is very long. And they go, whatever, there she is being that freak lady who's, and who cares?
Right.
Who cares what they think? They're not me. It's not their life. And who cares? And yeah, but the other side of that is I kind of came into this world that way. Luckily, because it was like, I've always been, yeah, I'm doing this. Not as crazy as the RV, but, in a general sense, whatever.
You're a rebel? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Are you a rebel with a cause?
Making the world a better place is my biggest cause. And that is something that has been so wonderful about living in an RV is, oh, look at the puppy. Look at how cute. That it doesn't have to be huge. So I'm not a healer, I'm not a coach, I'm not any of those things, but I'm out there making the world a place that I want it to be, which is filled with kindness, that, and so that's huge to me.
I think we're all creating more impact in the world than we give ourselves credit for, and that we don't have to be or do anything special. Just living our truth, connecting to our heart is making the biggest impact that we can.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And for me, I'm kind of like you, Chantelle, in that I've never really fit in. But what I kind of carry with me is, unless you're living in my boots, step the fuck out of my life, because you have no clue why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yep. And if you want to sit down and have a conversation with me, I will be more than happy to have that conversation with you. If you'd like to understand or whatever, just have the conversation, I'm happy to do that. But if you just want to stand from afar and say, look at that crazy bitch, you know what? Then in your eyes I am, and I'm good with that.
Amen.
Seems cold-hearted, but true.
It's not. It's not cold-hearted. It's not insensitive, and it's not mean. It's owning who you are. Because I see what you say is not ugly. I don't see it as a negative at all.
Because you live it. That's, yeah. Well,
Right.
and it goes back to if somebody has a problem with it, it's probably because they wish
Yeah.
they had a set and they
Yep.
could, right?
Yep.
So we are on the hour, ladies. Any quick checkouts that you didn't get to say that you really feel are important to share?
Go make some cupcakes.
Go make some cupcakes. That's good. No,
No, I'm good.
I think we covered it all pretty well.
Marie?
Good, ladies. This was great.
Well, Connie and I sure appreciate you, Marie and Chantelle, for joining us, and we love these jam sessions with you guys.
Thanks for
If our
having me.
Facebook or YouTube watchers are, have any questions or any insights they want to share, we would love to hear from you. Our YouTube channel, Connie, is what?
The H2H show.
The H2H show.
Yep.
On YouTube, you can find us, and I'm sure you will find a link. We also have an email address that we'll leave in the link if you guys have any questions or if you'd like to be a guest on the show. We'd love to hear from you. Peace out for now. Thank you so much. Mwah.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
I didn't hang up this time.